Alright, for tonight's homework 828, I'm going to have you copy all the work for these two problems and write down the 5 words to show me that you listened. If you're in my honors class, you're going to be doing a little bit extra. But the rest of my classes, copy all the work, write down the 5 words, turn that in tomorrow. For my honors classes, listen for the instructions at the end. Alright, so here we go. I'd like you on a piece of paper to write down everything that you see here. You're going to be doing 2 of these. Write down this table. Write down these words, recursive form, explicit form. Write down these equations. I would like you to fill in these numbers in there. So the numbers I'm going to have you use are 13 for this first problem, 21, and 29. I would like you to give this problem a try. Hopefully you have enough to get some of this done. Give it a try. Alright, here we go. So this one, I could see that I'm going up by 8. Up by 8. That is my common difference, or what we call the D number that used to be slope. That is my D. That is the number that's going to go into all these places for D. If I'm adding to the right, that means I'm subtracting going to the left. So 13 minus 8, that's where I get the 5. These are my x numbers. These are my y numbers, but we call them f of x numbers. These are the numbers I plug in for x. When I do the math, these are the numbers that get spit out. The first word is big, big. Alright, so my common difference is 8. That number is important. It's going to go into all these formulas where D is. That is my common difference. So all those spots where D is. I need you to know that the function at the 0 term, or when x is 0, when I plug it in and do the math, I get 5. Or the function at the 0 term is 5, or f of 0 is 5. 0 is the number you're plugging in, and when you do the math, 5 is what you get. The first term, or f of 1, is 13. Or when I plug in x is 1, the y number, or the math, spits out 13. That's the y number, or the f of x number. Alright, so I want you to find the recursive form of this equation, and then I'm going to have you jump ahead to a number and find the explicit form. Explicit form, you need the first term and the 0 term. The recursive form, all you need is the common difference number. So I want the equation first. So f of x equals f of x minus 1 plus 8. That is the generic equation that you would use. I want you then to use that to find the 4th and 5th term in this problem. So I'm going to have you find the 4th one by plugging in 4 here and put 4 right here, plus that 8. That gives me f of 3, which means I then, before I do any math, need to find the 3rd term in the table, or when I plug in 3, or the function at 3, or when I plug in 3, what I get? That is 29. So I'm going to replace that f of 3 with what its real value is at the 3rd term, which is the real number 29. Notice there's no f there anymore. That f of 3 goes away and is replaced with a real number. Now I could do math, which shows me the 4th term is 29 plus 8, which is 27. And of course, 37. Make that a 37. I will fix that. So this becomes 4th term 37. If I wanted to repeat the recursive pattern, take 37 plus 8, take that answer plus 8. I'm going to have you show the work for the 5th term right here. I know it's kind of weird, but to find that 5th term, plug in 5 here. I'm going to put 5 in for x. Gives me 5 minus 1 plus 8. which gives me the function at the fourth term, which I then need to look at my table and see at the fourth term what f of x is. So when I plug in x is 4, I get 37. So I'm going to replace that function at 4 with the real number it is, which is 37. And then add that 8. And that gives me the fifth term is 8 more than this, should be 45. And if I wanted to find the sixth term, take 45 plus 8, gives me 53. Okay, I'm going to shrink that down, and we're going to skip ahead to the 101st term. All right, now if I'm jumping ahead to the 101st term, I need to then use equations that I could plug x into. So again, for this, the 8 is my common difference number. That number goes in front of x. And then I replace that f of 0 with what it really is on the table, which is 5. That is the equation I'm going to use. 8x plus 5, the rate of change, the common difference, plus the y-intercept, or the 0 term. To find the 101st term, I'm going to plug in 101 for x. I'm going to show my notation right here. Equals 8 times 101 plus 5. Which gives me 808. The second word is blue. Blue. And that 808 plus 5 gives me 813, which shows the function at the 101st term, or after 101 hours, there are 813 ants following this pattern. That number goes right here. Make sure you fill in that table. I'm going to have you also find that value 813, but not using the 0 term in the sequence. We're going to shift over and use the first term, which that shift over to the right, we're going to write this as x minus 1. So I'm going to replace that d with 8. I'm going to put x minus 1 in there. I'm going to replace the first term with what it is, 13. That is the equation that I would use using the first term instead of the 0 term. These are equivalent. Function at 101 equals 8, and I'm going to put 101 right inside there, minus 1, plus 13. I'm going to subtract 101 minus 1 inside there to get 100. And then I'm going to times 8 times 100, which gives me 800 plus 13, which shows you at the 101st term you get 813. Again, these are equivalent. If I was to distribute this 8x minus 8, that negative 8 and that 13 will combine to give you 5. So this is 8x plus 5 in disguise. It's equivalent, equal, but they look different. 8x minus 8 and 13 gives you 8x plus 5. All right, the next problem. The second and last. The numbers I'm going to have you use are 16, 14, and 12. I'm hoping that you see these are going down, which means you're going to have a negative D number. I would like you to maybe pause it and give this one a try. See if you could do all of this. I believe the term I'm going to give you to jump ahead is 203 if you want to try that. If you've tried it, welcome back. Here we go. So I'm going to have you notice that these are going down. My common difference is going to be negative, going down by 2, going down by 2. If I was to keep going, take 12 minus 2, 10, 10 minus 2, 8. That is the recursive pattern. My common difference is -2. That is my D number. That number will go in all my places for D. -2 here, -2, -2. To write the equation for this table, that would be f of x in recursive form equals f of x minus 1 minus 2. Don't put plus 2 there because it's going down. If I was to use this to show how I get the fourth term, which is 10, I'm going to plug in 4 right here equals 2 and plug in 4 right here minus 2. This gives me f of 3 minus 2. I'm going to find what the third value in this table is, or when x is 3, what y is, or f of x is. That's going to be 12. So I'm going to replace that with the function at the third term. I'm going to put that in there right there, 12 minus 2, which tells me at the fourth term I get 10. That supports the work. And of course, 10 minus 2, 8, minus 2, 6. I'm going to have you jump ahead to the 203rd term. The third word is small, small. All right, to find that 203rd term, I'm going to use the 0 term and D. To find the 0 term, if I'm subtracting 2 to the left, for this pattern, subtracting 2 to the right, going to the left is adding 2. So 16 plus that 2 gives me 18. That is the 0 term going backwards. Subtracting to the right, adding to the left. So the function at the 0 term is 18. The function at the first term is 16. So I'll use both of those numbers. And I'm going to use that -2 into both spots for x. So here I go. The equation I'm going to use first with the common difference number, slope, and the y-intercept number, or the f of 0 term. That's going to give me f of x equals, and then make sure you put -2 there in front of x, -2x, plus the value of the function at the 0 term, 18. I'm going to take that 203 and plug it right there in for x and do the math. So the function at the 203rd term equals -2, and in the parentheses 203 plus 18 gives me -406 plus 18, which shows me at the 203rd term, -406 plus 18. 18 of these positives cancel 18 of these negatives and leave you a bunch of negatives left over. Or subtract these two, keep the negative sign because there's more negatives. That -388 goes right up in that blank spot. I'm going to now have you use the first term. So I'm going to use that same equation, f of x. I'm going to replace d with -2. I have this x minus 1 every time when you use this first term. Shift to the right. The first term is 16. That is the equation that I'm going to use. The fourth word is dog, dog. So for this one, I'm going to plug in 101. Make sure you write 101 there. I made a little mistake. I'm going to fix that, but show that you're doing 203. 203 in there. Write that. Equal -2. 203 minus 1 plus 16 gives me -2 times 202 plus 16. -2 times 202 is -404 plus 16. Gives me the function at the 203rd term should be that same -388. All right. The fifth word is yellow. Yellow. Okay, for Math 1, write all of that work and those 5 words, turn it in. For my Math 1 honors, I want you to go above and beyond and make up one best you can. Make up a sequence problem with your own numbers, maybe 2, 4, 6, or if you want to make it more complicated, try to give me the recursive form in both explicit forms. And then I would like you to take a picture of these 2 problems and the one you made up. Make sure you show me the words too. Put that on your Google slide, and then a video explaining the problem that you made up. So for my honors classes, I should see in the morning a picture of my 2 problems I had you copy, plus the one I had you make up on your own, and a little video explaining what you did to do the work for the problem you made up. Good luck.